Images from Barcelona confirm what many thought impossible. Red Bull's first car without Adrian Newey is not slower. It features a hidden suspension detail that went unnoticed at the Detroit launch, presented by Red Bull Racing. The Formula One paddock is in chaos this morning. For 2 years, the story remained the same. The moment Adrian Newey left, the Red Bull dynasty would crumble. Critics, journalists, and rival team principals were convinced 2026 marked the end of the Bulls' dominance. Reports suggested the new Ford partnership was months behind schedule, and simulation data was uncorrelated. With the greatest aerodynamicist in history now wearing Aston Martin green, the RB22 was supposed to be the car that finally brought Max Verstappen back down to earth. Yet data from the Barcelona shakedown on February 3rd suggests those predictions were wrong. The regulatory reset for this season is massive. Cars are smaller, lighter, and rely on a 50-50 split between electric and combustion power. Active aerodynamics are standard, with Z mode for corners and X mode for straights, replacing the old DRS system. In this new environment, everyone expected Mercedes or Ferrari to take the lead. Red Bull Racing, however, played a hand so strong it has the entire grid scrambling for answers. The RB22 broke cover publicly in Detroit back on January 15th, but that was just a livery launch on a show car. What rolled out of the garage in Spain last week was different. It looks aggressive, sounds smooth, and features technical updates that defy the new rulebook's restrictions. This is a statement of intent from Pierre Wache and the technical team in Milton Keynes. They do not plan to merely survive the post-Newey era. They plan to dominate it. Red Bull misled everyone during the Detroit reveal. When the covers came off in the Motor City nearly 3 weeks ago, the chassis looked suspiciously simple. It featured the standard 2026 dimensions, 200 millimeters shorter and 100 millimeters narrower, but the aerodynamic surfaces seemed basic. Rival engineers likely breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the brain drain to Aston Martin, documented by Wikipedia, had finally taken its toll. That Detroit chassis was a decoy, a deception highlighted by the race. The real machine, Max Verstappen drove onto the Catalunya circuit last week, features a floor geometry that is infinitely more complex. The side pod inlets are razor-thin and almost invisible, feeding cooling channels that shouldn't be possible with the new, bulkier battery packs. While the world watched the fake car in Michigan, the factory in Milton Keynes finished a machine that ignores conventional wisdom about the new regulations. This detail has technical analysts confused today. For the last regulation cycle, Red Bull defined the grid with a pull rod front suspension. It was their trademark. The RB22 has flipped the script entirely. Spy shots from the pit lane confirm a double pushrod layout on both the front and rear axles. This change sounds minor to a casual viewer, but in engineering terms, it is a major shift. By moving the suspension components higher up the chassis, they cleared a massive volume of space near the floor's leading edge. This allows for cleaner airflow directly into the Venturi tunnels, generating downforce that doesn't rely on the wings. Newey was famous for his suspension designs, and everyone assumed his departure, as reported by SI, meant Red Bull would play it safe. Instead, they chose a setup so aggressive that Ferrari and McLaren might have to redesign their entire front ends to catch up. If you find this technical analysis interesting, hit subscribe and the notification bell as we cover breaking F1 stories like this every week. Now, we return to the engine rumors. For months, the rumors out of the Red Bull powertrains facility were grim. Stories discussed on YouTube mentioned combustion failures, battery harvesting issues, and a power deficit to Mercedes. Paddock gossip claimed the new Red Bull Ford DM01 unit was a failure waiting to happen. Telemetry from Barcelona tells a different story. The engine ran reliably for over 300 kilometers according to Pro Football Network, and insiders are leaking a shocking figure of an 18-to-1 compression ratio. If that number is accurate, it is exceptionally high for a turbo-hybrid engine. It suggests Ford and Red Bull found a way to manage cylinder pressures that other manufacturers thought impossible. This high compression allows for explosive power delivery out of corners, exactly where the new 2026 cars are supposed to struggle due to reduced grip. The engine many feared would fail might actually be the class of the field. We must discuss the man in the second seat. Sergio Perez is gone, and the era of the veteran wingman is over. Red Bull promoted Isack Hadjar, the French talent who impressed at Racing Bulls last year. Putting a rookie in a championship-contending car during a regulation overhaul is a massive gamble. Last week in Barcelona, Hadjar was matching Verstappen's sector times in the low-speed corners. His feedback on the active aero system has reportedly been precise and mature. Team principal Laurent Mekies is banking on Hadjar's youth and adaptability to handle the X-mode high-speed configurations better than an older driver might. If Hadjar can score consistent podiums immediately, Red Bull solves the problem that plagued them for the last 2 years, which was having a second car that can fight for the constructor's title. The 2026 rules introduced active aerodynamics to replace DRS, a system where the front and rear wings physically change angle mid-lap. It is complex, heavy, and prone to failure. Most teams treat it cautiously, using standard default settings for their initial runs. Red Bull appeared to test extreme angles that looked almost unstable. Initial data from the Barcelona shakedown shows Mercedes W17 setting the pace with exceptional reliability, while Red Bull faced setbacks after Isack Hadjar's crash limited their running. Then, under braking, active aerodynamics are now standard, with corner mode for turns and straight mode for straights replacing the old DRS system. The speed of this transition is the secret weapon. If Red Bull's hydraulic actuators can switch modes even a tenth of a second faster than the competition, that advantage compounds over every single braking zone. Over a 70-lap race, that actuation speed alone could be worth 10 seconds of race time. They have not just complied with the rules, but used them as a weapon. The implications of this car's performance secure the future of the franchise. Max Verstappen had an exit clause in his contract, but recent reports suggest it was removed. If Red Bull failed for 2026, he was free to walk, with Mercedes and Aston Martin offering blank checks. His body language in Detroit was guarded and cold. In the Barcelona paddock last week, the mood shifted. Verstappen was seen smiling with his engineers after the final day of testing, despite earlier delays caused by Hadjar's crash. He knows what a winning car feels like. If the RB22 was poor, we would have seen the frustration immediately. His calm demeanor signals that the car works, and the four-time champion is not going anywhere. While Red Bull celebrates a successful shakedown, we look at the other side of this split. Adrian Newey has been officially at Aston Martin for nearly a year, and his influence already looms. Aston's 2026 Challenger has similar traits to the old Red Bulls, and Fernando Alonso claims it felt very special during the shakedown. The situation is ironic. Red Bull is succeeding by moving away from Newey's philosophy with their new suspension, while Aston Martin is trying to recreate the magic Newey left behind. It sets up a battle for the season opener in Melbourne. It is the master versus the apprentice. Pierre Wache has stepped out of the shadow, but he knows Newey will watch every update Red Bull brings to the track, looking for weaknesses to exploit with his new team. This launch changes the entire complexion of the 2026 season. If Red Bull had stumbled, we would look at a multi-team title fight, with Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren all taking changes out of each other. Instead, we face another era of dominance, but one that looks technically different. The success of the RB22 proves the organization is bigger than any single individual, even one as legendary as Adrian Newey. It validates the billion-dollar risk they took with the Ford engine program. For the viewers, this means the reset we were promised might not be the equalizer we hoped for. If that double pushrod suspension and the high-compression Ford engine are as good as the early data suggests, the championship fight might be for second place before the lights even go out in Australia. Reliability is the silent killer in a new regulation cycle. A fast car that breaks down is useless, and we haven't seen the Ford power unit survive a full race distance in the heat yet. The speed is there, but the durability is the final question mark? We are also witnessing a shift in philosophy. For 20 years, F1 cars were defined by aerodynamics above all else. The RB22 suggests that 2026 will be defined by mechanical grip and engine efficiency. The teams that prioritized wind tunnel time over suspension geometry are going to be left behind. Red Bull saw the future, and once again, they arrived there before anyone else. The post-Newey era was supposed to be the end of Red Bull, but the RB22 suggests it might just be a new beginning. We will know for sure when the lights go out in Melbourne. If you want to follow every twist of this 2026 season, hit that subscribe button right now.